Hello, I'm Rich, and this is a bit of an update video for the bow side of Splitscreen, which hopefully you can see right here. So we've got a few little tweaks to the firmware, some nice little add-on features, and some better explanations of existing ones as well. So first off is to say that the main thing about this unit is the 20 hertz GPS in it. So it's the best hardware available to rowers right now for immediate stroke to stroke feedback. There's this thing as well, obviously. The NK is about 10 years old now, and the GPS chip in it is about 13 years old, so it can only do 5 samples per second. And if you're doing 30 strokes a minute, that's 2 seconds, that's only 10 samples, whereas this is 40 per stroke. And when your boat speed changes a lot during each stroke that you take, that makes a really big difference to how consistent and reliable the speed you get from your GPS is on each stroke. Of course, you can average it out over a few strokes, and then after a few strokes makes no difference. It's all much the same. But if you need that, or if you want the instant feedback from one stroke onto the next to how much faster you're proceeding towards the finish line, then this little guy is going to do it a lot better. We've got a couple of nice little things around the screen to point out as well. If you have a look at how it behaves with polarized sunglasses, we're just going to put it in some glare, and then I've got these guys. They're just polarized sunglasses, and if you put them on, your screen all of a sudden becomes readable, whereas the NK doesn't at all. There's a really simple reason for it. The setup for the direction of which way the polarizers are in the screen, basically on this, is the right way around to work with polarized sunglasses, and on the NK it's the opposite. So actually, if you turn the NK this way around, the screen works actually pretty okay with polarized sunglasses, which is nice. But it's this way around, so it doesn't work. Advice in general is, if you're rowing, don't use polarized sunglasses, because you won't be able to see your screens, which seems crazy because every single other water sport uses polarized sunglasses because they're great for reducing glare. And now you can too. So the screen, it is glass, which is one of the reasons it's so much clearer. Obviously, it's glass so it can shatter. It's the same glass you get in many mobile phones, so it's quite robust. It's definitely very hard, resists scratching very well, a lot better than the plastic that is on every other piece of rowing electronics. If you're buying this for, say, a club or a program where you've got kids around, you don't think they're gonna look after the kit particularly well. I am working on a bumper which fits on the top like this, and obviously if you drop it onto a hard flat surface, it's significantly less likely to break it. We've got another extra little feature here that has been built in. So the rate meter is in the menu now. Use the right button. It works like every other manual rate watch. The split that's displayed there That is the average split that this unit has detected over the last 5 seconds. So if you're going along at a nice consistent speed in a launch, this will show you how fast you're going. I would not recommend it for trying to judge the speeds of crews, like by, following a crew, try and follow a crew exactly, and then see how fast the crew is going by looking at your watch here. But it will give you a ballpark figure, which might be helpful for whatever you're doing at the time. Only about 80% of the battery capacity is actually used ever, and what that means is it will maintain its life over multiple charging cycles a lot better. So the spec for this battery from the factory is 500 cycles until the capacity drops by a nominal 20%. But by only using part of the capacity, so not charging it all the way up and also not draining it all the way down, and also the fact that this is such a low power device, so draining the battery at a very slow rate, the research says about double the number of charging cycles until you get that same 20% drop in battery capacity. But I mean, there are so many factors that influence batteries and their life, that stating exact specs is a bit crazy. It does need to be sent back to Bowsider to have the battery changed, as it does also have to have the charger coil and the case changed at the same time. And that was definitely a design decision that we made, balanced against cost and buoyancy. So we could definitely have made this thing with a user replaceable battery, but it would have cost a lot more, and it would not have floated. Another thing that people have asked about a little bit is the auto start and stop. So when you start a piece, it will wait until it detects movement, before actually, there you go, the little play button, it has started the piece. I decided not to put an auto stop in. So by that I mean on the distance. Obviously the time, if you set 20 minutes on it, it'll stop after 20 minutes. Exactly, that's the whole point. If you set 2K, it will stop after 2,000 meters are gone. That's the whole point. This won't rewind to the last stroke you took when it's just on a free running piece like this. I know that some of the other competition do that, but I decided not to go for that. If you're a racer, you're going to race through the line, and that's going to add up to about 4 seconds onto your recorded time, but it's about 4 seconds. It depends on where exactly the stroke happened. So it could be 0, could be 2, could be 4, could be 6 if you're on a really low rate. You don't really know. Just pressing the button was going to be a more consistent, more reliable way of doing it. And if you're racing so hard that you can't press the button, then chances are that where the person in the next lane is a lot more important than what the clock says. Okay, a couple of other little improvements, or changes, I suppose, on the firmware, depending on your opinion. Firstly, we have added the split distance and time screen, which previously was not included purposefully. So you've got rate and split, rate split distance, rate split time, rate distance time. Before, we did not include split distance and time, in order to reduce the number of button clicks required to find what you want, and the assumption was that only a crazy person would want to see this screen, but there are a few crazy people about, so it's been added in. I hope that the extra button click doesn't drive other people crazy. Another little thing we've added is a Coxing screen. So normally to change screen, you just keep tapping on the right button until you get to the one you want. If instead you hold it down for 3 seconds, you get to the Coxing screen. It's got a lot more information on it, but it's a lot smaller. I can't see this being particularly easy to read for a rower who's rowing along. You've got the split at the moment in the very top left. You've got the average split of the piece you're doing just underneath. You've got the rate that you're doing right now on the top right there. You've got the distance and the time of the piece. And then this is just a counter. So when you start a piece, it's just going to count from 0 to 9 and back around again. So if you're doing power tens, you might appreciate that as a Cox. Back around to 0. From working with manufacturers a bit more closely, we've improved the fit and the tolerances on the mounting mechanism. So the previous versions up to now, they're really quite stiff to begin with, and then as they got used more and more, they did break in, which is nice. But now they arrive fitting and don't need nearly as much working in, which is quite nice. And the sound is quite satisfying as well. The VHB's been improved on the VHB mount again, which is nice. There's a little tab, you can pull it off nice and easily, and you'll be able to get some spare VHBs. These will be going up on the website in not too long. Most excitingly, there is a shiny sticker. You might get really lucky in the box. So in terms of general updates, shipping to other countries, not just the UK, it's going to be Europe next. I would guess about 3 or 4 months. Don't hold me to it, but that's what I'm shooting for. And then some other parts of the world. And thank you so much for getting in touch from all over the place. It's really, really nice to hear. We're going to be discontinuing the non-backlight version because the demand for the backlit version has been about 10 times higher. So if you want the £219 version, there's a few left on the website. Snap them up before the last few have gone. If there's demand for it, I can put out some more in-depth stuff about the insides of this, just for nerds. And there are some good reasons that NK Active Tools haven't made a product like this. Makes a lot of sense that they wouldn't. If people want to hear more, then I'm sure I can come up with something. That's all we got for updates at the moment. Thanks very much for your interest in Splitscreen and Bowsider, and hopefully we will see you at a race very soon.